New Thought Media Network and the Universal Joy Center are proud to bring you The Joy Show. One voice, one story, infinite inspiration. Join your host, Barbara Jean, every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time or 1 p.m. Mountain Time. Tune in live or watch anytime on youtube.com/@UJOYC. The Joy Show with Barbara Jean. The perfect way to get inspired on Friday afternoons. Only on New Thought Media Network. And please like, share, and subscribe. And now, let's join Barbara Jean on The Joy Show.
Well, good afternoon and welcome to The Joy Show, where we celebrate the wild, wonderful truth of the authentic you. Yes, joy is an acronym for just one you. Yes, unique and special. So the idea is that there's never been and never will be another you. You know, your laugh, your story, your weird little quirks, your wisdom, your heart. So every week I'm going to share stories and real life tools to assist you in stopping that habit of trying to fit into someone else's mold and start living as your beautiful, original self. So I'm Barbara Jean and I'm so happy you're here. So let's dive in. We're going to start with the land acknowledgement. In the spirit of reconciliation and peace, we are grateful for the opportunity to meet on these lands. We thank the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. We recognize our oneness. We realize our history. We choose to create a new reality, for we are one. Miigwech. All right, well, today's show is about the questions that changed my life. Yes, not the answers, but the question. So as you can see, our format is evolving. No guest today, just me. And instead, what I wanted to do was share something that's shaped my life in a profound way. Not answers, but questions. Yes, because I've learned that transformation rarely comes from being told what to think or what to do. It comes from being invited to look within and to look in a new way, to see ourselves in a new way. So this afternoon, I'm sharing some of the questions that have changed my life, and maybe one of them is meant for you as well. So let's get started. The first question: what if nothing is wrong with me? You know, sometimes we go through our life experience and we're thinking, you know, I'm the wrong weight, I'm the wrong height, I'm the wrong color, I'm the wrong, born in the wrong country. But what if there's nothing wrong with me? What if each one of us was created just the way we need to be for the life that we're living? So this question stopped me in my tracks the first time I really let it land. So much energy was going into fixing myself, improving myself, and of course, judging myself. But what if we aren't broken, just unfolding? What if growth doesn't mean something is wrong? It means something is awakening. See, in order to see ourselves as perfect, whole, and complete, that can be a little bit of a stretch sometimes because we've been told all sorts of things growing up. Stop talking, you talk too much, or shut up and sit in the corner. Nobody wants to hear you. You're dumb, you're stupid, you're crazy. Whatever the stories were that built up this aspect of ourselves that believes in our broken self. But we're not broken. And if we can come to terms with that, if we recognize that not only is there nothing wrong with me, I actually am, in fact, perfect, whole, and complete, unique and special, just like every other person. Yeah. You see, we're all created in a way that is really remarkable. And if we take the time, we'll start to see ourselves as that remarkable self. So moving along, who am I when I stop performing? So we've learned, who we need to be in order to belong, right? We have to be capable. We have to be pleasing, strong, helpful. But underneath all of that, who are you really? Not the role, not the mask, not the resume, just you. So, who are you? Think about that question for yourself for a moment. Like, who am I? In the grand scheme of things, with life unfolding the way it does, who am I in the midst of all that? Who am I? I think sometimes we forget, or I know for myself, I forgot for a long time, who am I? Who am I really? Like, I might, show up with this mask because I'm meeting the in-laws, or, this other mask because it's a first date, or I'm wearing another mask because I'm with my family and they have expectations of me. Like, I understand why we do it, but I wonder what would happen if we didn't do it anymore. If instead we lived our fullest, brightest, out loud truth. That would be kind of cool, wouldn't it? Yeah. So what if we just gave it all up? Because underneath all of that, who are you really? Well, you're capable, pleasing, strong, helpful, brilliant, intelligent. So you're not the role, you're not the mask, you're not the resume. You're just you. And that should be more than enough, more than sufficient to carry you through this life journey and to bring you to a place of peace and comfort in all that you do. Who am I? Great question to ask yourself. Who am I? All right. So, our next question, this was one that was a bit of a struggle for me. What am I pretending not to know? One of the questions that I often ask people when they come and say, I don't know what my mission is or what my purpose is, help me. And I'll say to them, do you know that at some level you already know this? But there's a part of you that is pretending not to know. So what if instead of just settling with the idea that I don't know, we turn around instead and go, I don't know, maybe I should record one of these matches coming up so I can hear the Canadian broadcaster as he's sharing play by play and background information and whatnot with the game. Now, what if I do that often, where I use what's available to me to create something really, really lovely? So, what am I pretending not to know? See, this is a powerful but uncomfortable question because deep down, we already know. We know when something isn't aligned, and we know when it's time for change. Doesn't mean we'll actually change, but we know when the time comes. So, the nice thing about this question is it invites honesty with compassion. What am I pretending not to know? Because if I can tell myself one thing that I know I'm pretending about, that's going to change the game for everyone, not just me. So we end up with a whole new way of being, a whole new way of showing up when we stop pretending. So this question really invites honesty if you're ready to be honest with yourself. Remember, this isn't for anybody else, this is for you. Just to figure out for yourself, what is it that you require? So the next question that was a little bit tough for me was, what would change if I trusted myself here? And what I realized in asking this question is I did not trust me. I had no trust for myself. Self-trust doesn't mean certainty. It means being willing to listen inward instead of constantly looking out for permission. So what if you trusted your wisdom just a little more than your fear? Imagine the places you'd go and the things that you would do. Imagine the way that you would look at the world overall, probably a little more optimistically. Oh, some of these words. So when we're journeying along, we want to develop trust. Now, we know what it is with us and other people, but we need to trust ourselves. And how we develop that is we pay attention to what we say and what we do. What we say and what we do. And if we say we're going to do something, it's really important that we actually follow through and do it. Okay? So I just want to give you an example of when I haven't trusted myself. And I remember years ago, every year, January 1st, I would set the intention for what I would do or what I would accomplish. And, you know, it would be things like go on a diet or increase my income or, you know, develop a certain skill. Well, the thing is that I would make these resolutions and then I wouldn't back them up. I wouldn't follow through with them. And then I'd feel guilty because I made the resolution. I told people about it and then I did nothing with it. So I think we have to really take a look at what we're saying, what we're putting out, and to whom we're giving that information to. And then look at what I'm saying about me. And can I honor that? Can I be trustworthy to myself? What if I trusted my wisdom more than my fear? That'd be pretty cool, eh? Trusting wisdom rather than fear. Yeah. Okay. So what am I loyal to that no longer loves me back? What am I loyal to that no longer loves me back? This is a big one because this means we're going to step into the idea of change. We want to make something different out of what's going on. And so we tend to begin to move along those lines. So rather than staying, loyal to the old idea of me or relationships or expectations or beliefs that, they stopped supporting me a long time ago, only because they weren't right. But because they're familiar, we tend to allow ourselves to slide into them because they are familiar. Familiar doesn't make it good or right. It really does not. So we want to just stop that, full stop, and go, no, that's not what loving myself would look like. That's not how I build trust. I build trust through honesty. So the question is about loving ourselves enough to outgrow what we once felt was necessary. Yeah. Loving ourselves enough that we can outgrow some of those old patterns or conditions that we've set in place, right? We want to begin to really open up to that. So as you strive along and as you look at what works for you and what doesn't, pay attention to what's working for you. Pay attention to what's exciting to you. And then follow those things. When that energy comes, follow that. Yeah. All righty. Where have I made joy conditional? We do that sometimes, don't we? We get a little set in what we want and how we want it. And then we go, well, I'll be happy when. I'll be happy when I lose weight. I'll be happy when I find the right partner. I'll be happy when I have children. I'll be happy when my children move out and get their own space. I'll be happy. Really? Really? Be happy when? Be happy when? So, when do we want to be happy? Well, I think a lot of us would like to be happy now. And here's the cool thing about this joy or this happiness. It lives within us already. We don't have to apply for it. We don't have to wait 3 weeks for it to be delivered. We already have it. All we got to do is let it out. And what prevents it from getting out? Thinking. And what are we thinking about? Well, that person said something about me that wasn't true, and now I'm mad. Okay. Well, I could choose to focus on what that person said that I believe is untrue, or I could focus on what I know to be true, right? Like I don't have to buy into somebody else's story, somebody else's um, rant or whatever was going on. I can look at it and say, thank you for sharing. And from there, I can turn around and move forward. I can begin to create some kind of harmony and beauty in my life rather than fighting this whole existence. So, when will I be happy? When I decide to be happy. And that's when you can too. See, joy doesn't live in the future, it's in the now moment, it's in the present. And it does require us being willing to be there, be happy. I remember years ago having an argument with my former spouse, and as we were arguing, there was a part of me going, like, this isn't what you want. You don't want to be fighting. You want to be getting along. You want to feel loved and supported. You want to feel accepted for who you are. And here you are behaving in a way that's actually just going to push that away. Again, like I could choose to be joyful, right? I could choose to say, hey, here's what I need. And then whether the person can meet that or not, it can be a yes or a no. But by allowing myself to be in that position where I can go, hey, here's what I need. And then they can meet it or not. And then I can be joyful again. But when we tie our needs to someone else, so you need to make me happy, or you need to, well, nobody needs to do anything for us or to us or whatever. So what we have to do is start listening better and speaking about what we need or what we want or what we desire with our spouse, with our children, close friends, whatever the case may be. So we want to make sure that we start to live in that place of acknowledging that joy is completely unconditional. I mean, look at a funeral, for example. We can be at a funeral and people can be bawling their eyes out over the loss. And then one person tells a story from somewhere in that the individual's life, and all of a sudden laughter erupts through the entire place. See, joy hadn't gone away. It was just covered with grief. But in the moment that we begin to remember some other things, joy reveals itself yet again. So we want to just look at how we're doing what we're doing and just get a sense of whether or not it serves us to create these conditions for our lives, to set expectations for other people that, they don't even know about, let alone know whether or not they can fulfill it in time. So we want to pay attention. It's up to each and every one of us to decide that we're going to live in a way that allows us to really honor the essence of who we are and to live, out loud, like to not make apologies for who we are, but to allow ourselves to be fully who we are so that we can be joyful, so we can live in that place of joy. It happens when we're in alignment, right? We're in alignment with who we truly, truly are. Okay, so what wants to emerge through me now? We're not meant to stay the same. Life is not meant to be stagnant. there's always something evolving and moving. So are we ready to evolve? And if we are, what would that look like? Who have I been and who am I becoming? And what happens is, as we get a bit older, we might get more confident about ourselves. We might feel a little stronger connection to who we really are, and feel a sense of liberation that comes from saying, hey, this is me. I am the I am. Whatever it is, to be able to just put that out there is really powerful. And then we can, from there, just take it one day at a time. Now what? And I love that. Now what? And excited. Now what? What wants to emerge through me now? Mm, that is such a great question. And it's one where, I know for myself anyway, in the past, where I've gone, well, I don't know. I don't know what wants to emerge from me now. And that's one of the lies that we tell ourselves. One of the lies I've told myself over the years. But the reality is that at some level, we do know. At some way, we already have the answers. We're not meant to stay the same. Life is meant to evolve. And it evolves through us, not to us, not apart from us, through us. So then the shift, comes with, who have I been, to who am I becoming? And we take the time with that to sit with that question and to ask ourselves, now what? What comes when I sit with curiosity? What comes when I allow myself to feel supported and loved in this universe? And I begin to visualize or vision about my life and where it's going. Sounds like there might be some nice little solutions in there if we do that work. Maybe some good insights that help us to show up in a bigger, brighter, better way, possibly. But we don't know if we don't try. All right, moving along. What if this moment is not a problem, but an invitation? An invitation. So something happens. Let's say you're on your way to the theater and you're really excited about the show you're about to see. And on the way there, you get a flat tire. And you don't have a spare, because lots of new cars don't come with spares. Who knew? Now what? What do you do? What do you do in that moment? Well, sometimes what happens is there's a little cursing and kicking and screaming that goes on. It's us remembering when we were toddlers and we do something silly. Sometimes we do things because we feel compelled to do them. Sometimes we do things because we're in reaction mode and we're reacting out of our fear, our frustration, our annoyance. And so depending on how we show up, we could see everything in our life as a huge problem. But what if it isn't? What if it's just an invitation to see something different, to look at something from a new angle, begin to notice where you're headed in that moment, what changed? So it doesn't mean that, everything is easy. It means, especially here, that something is asking you to grow or to soften, to awaken, or to release. It's usually about letting go of something or bringing something new in. It's about doing things in a new way. Looking at these situations in our lives. I remember a while ago, I created a chart that talked about the event. So the event is neutral of itself, okay? Something happens, I'm doing the show today. Okay, so that happens. That's the event. Now, some people watching this would go, whoa, this is cool, interesting stuff. Somebody else watching it might sit back and go, oh, yeah, I don't know. I think she's not on the right track. So we have different opinions. So who's right? Well, they both are. They both are right. See, the event of itself is neutral. But once I look at it and label it or judge it, if I judge it as bad, now my experience becomes a negative one. It may not have been before, but it is now. Or if I judge it as good, then, my expectations are, whatever happens is fine by me. So we want to really pay attention to how we are exploring life, what we're doing, how we're doing it, where we're doing it, with whom we're doing it, and just pay attention to how we feel while we're doing it. Because the key is that if we can look at each situation as an opportunity, we can see it as an invitation. And now it's not labeled as bad or wrong, but simply a bump in the road that's causing us to move slightly differently, maybe slower, maybe in a new direction. Hard to say, but that's happening as a result. All right. All right. The next slide. What would it look like to be gentle with myself? Oh, my goodness gracious. Gentle, 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 gentle. Are we gentle with ourselves? Not many of the people that I talk to, I would not say that being gentle is how it's looking. What's happening more often than not is judging and criticizing and belittling and holding such high expectations for what we do, how do we do it, when we do it. When I hear some people talk about, oh, my mom was so rough on me, or my dad was so rough on me, expecting blah 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 out of me. Well, what are you doing? Here we are doing the same stuff, right? We're doing the same things that they did, but we're doing it inside our head going, oh, I don't think I can do that. Or, oh man, I'm such an idiot. Oh, what a dumb thing I did. What a stupid idiot. Like, we'll tell ourselves these stories, but they're not true. They're simply not true. So what if we just soften the edges a little bit? And instead of sort of ridiculing ourselves and beating ourselves up and bugging ourselves with different information, what if instead we sat back and went, well, like I've been not very nice with me. So I'm going to change that. Now you notice I didn't say I'm going to try to change it. You either do it or you don't. There's no such thing as try. Okay, so we want to give up the word try. There's a few words we should just take out of our vocabulary altogether, and I'll get into those in a couple of minutes. But in the meantime, being gentle with ourselves means being kind and compassionate, understanding, accepting. It means looking at the life that I'm living and seeing the value that it has. And then living from that place allows me to really honor my journey, my life, even my heritage, my ancestors. All of it is honored in the moment that I honor me, because I'm a little bit of all of it. So now what? And when am I going to be gentle with myself? Someday doesn't exist. And we're sure not going to get there when everything is done, because frankly, I don't know if you've noticed, but I've noticed never is everything done. There's always one more thing that could be done. So at what point in time will we choose that tenderness, that gentleness, that being with each other in a way that really honors our spirit and our divine essence? So, lots of things to think about. I hope you've been writing these questions down so you can ponder them later for yourself. Well, we're at the halfway mark of our show, so we're going to take a short little advertiser break. Got to let the people who are looking after us keep going. So we'll be back in just a minute. You're watching The Joy Show on the New Thought Media Network. Be right back.
Please help us say thank you to all of our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Center for Spiritual Living United Life, Sunshine Cathedral, and Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Universal Joy Center, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center Ottawa, Home Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. On behalf of New Thought Media Network, thank you, and please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, come be you.
Well, we're back. You're watching The Joy Show. And a little earlier on in the show, Rachel put in a question. Is it okay to be uncertain even if I know the answer? And I think uncertainty is a real part of who we are and what we do. I think we're not always 100% confident in what's coming, but if we know what's right, if we know what, is really there for us, and if we pay attention to that, we will find that we can move forward, even though we go, I don't know about this, but we can move forward anyway. And we start to see that it works. And so we pay attention to that. I hope I'm answering your question. Otherwise, you can definitely email me or something, and I can try to answer it a little more in depth. But and my email is revbarbara@rogers.com. So the journey that we are on really does require us to step into life, even when we don't know all the answers, even though we can't see the finished result. We can step in that uncertainty, Rachel, and begin to move forward with a sense of possibility, knowing that something is changing. Even if we don't know exactly what it is, something is changing. And so while I explored all these questions in my life, it was helpful to me to just get a sense of, who am I anyway? You think about all the things we've been told and the way our life has been shaped. It's been shaped through conversations and loss. It's been changed through different experiences, both good and bad, that have caused us to move in whatever direction. And what's interesting to me is some of the things that I called bad turned out to be some of the best things that have ever happened in my life. And some of the things I called good led me in a place that was just totally bad for me. So we don't need to be certain about what we're looking at or what's going on. We really do need to be curious about life, curious about what is coming. So curiosity is such a great tool, and we can be curious about anything. So to take that in, to sit back and go, well, who am I? Or who do I want to be? What excites and delights me? What are the things that really make me feel passionate, excited, joyful? What are the things that move me forward in ways that allow me to fully live my true self? When we start to look at these types of questions, we begin to see the possibility that, number one, I am enough. I am not broken or flawed in any way. I am created in the image and of the likeness of the Creator. So that means that the energy of life flowing through me is the universal energy. And that's where we're all tapped in. We're all connected. So it's really, really powerful to be in that place of going, yes, I'm in the right place at the right time. And here's where I want to take this, or here's what I want to do with it. So when we think about being curious, curiosity, think about it, even if you're talking to a friend or a child or whatever, and they're telling you about something new that they're planning or doing, and you're thinking, whoa, I don't know about that. Instead of being critical or judgmental, you can go, wow, tell me more about that. That sounds really interesting. I haven't necessarily agreed. I haven't given a green light if it's my child. What I have done, though, is expressed interest in what it is they say that they want to do or that they're planning to do. And that interest makes them feel, pardon me, a part of everything. It makes them feel, it makes them feel special, actually. Being in that place of somebody cares enough to ask me or to talk about this exciting project that I'm working on. Somebody's willing to listen to that. So curiosity is a really big part of everything that we do. And it helps us to open our minds and hearts into something that we don't know, right? Because curiosity takes us down a road that we haven't been on before. And that's really cool, because if we're going in that direction, like, how great to move along knowing that I am going to discover something that really serves me as a human being. And I think that's kind of where we want to go sometimes. So we need to remember that joy isn't something we chase. It's something that returns when we let go of some judgment and choose curiosity instead. Okay. So I hope as you look at these questions that there's something in them that brings you a deeper sense of clarity about who you really are and what it is that you're here to do in this life experience. I think we forget sometimes that we're not here by accident. We're here by divine appointment. Every one of us, every single person alive today, we're talking about 8 billion people, right? 8 billion people and 8 billion different expressions. 8 billion unique creative beings living life on their terms. And you're one of the 8 billion. You're most welcome, Rachel. The idea that we're enough, I think that's kind of where it goes back to, right? That feeling that I am enough. And because I am enough, and because I am connected with the universe, because I'm part of it, then wouldn't it make sense to live it as authentically as I can, as powerfully as I can? That to me makes good sense. What is it that makes me feel comfortable? What is it that brings me joy? What is it that makes me feel alive? These are the questions we want to ask ourselves, because the minute we do that, we'll start to see our path beginning to unfold. And what a joy that is to go, oh, I know what my next step is. And we take that next step, and then we can see the next one. And all of a sudden, we're moving forward in life with this incredible energy that allows us to be present and aware and excited about what is going to show up next. So I invite you to really pay attention to where you are right now and what it is you desire out of life. What do you desire? And if you want to put something in the chat, please do, and I will do my best to address it as well. So the idea that we're in this place of being able to create our lives, we can create our lives, and it all comes from the beliefs that are within us. Now, some of those might not be serving us very well at the moment, and that's okay. Maybe those are the ones we're ready to let go of. Yes, I know. Letting go of things, not necessarily the easiest part of the human experience, but really necessary, because we accumulate a lot. We really do. And to be able to let some of it go is really powerful. It really makes a huge difference. And I think each one of us can use that. Moving forward, we can sit back and go, hey, I know who I am, and I know where I'm going. And then allow yourself the space to make a mistake about that, head in the wrong direction and then realize it and turn back. We've all done it. We've all made mistakes. We've all done things that we're not particularly proud of. We've all participated in life in ways that, kind of go against even our own grain, so to speak. So we want to make sure that we can get to a place where we're at, we're knowing our oneness with all that is. Rachel just put in the chat, I've been wondering while while creating our lives or peace, when do I know what is okay to bring with me and let go, what to let go of? All right, well, what do we bring in and what do we let go of? Well, that's really, those are big, important questions. And one of the things that I've done that has really, really helped me is when I'm going to make a big decision. I don't do this with every decision, but when I'm making a big decision, okay, something that's a little over the top for me, I'm going to ask myself a question, or make a statement rather, I guess. And the statement is, if for any reason I should not do this, please put up a wall so high even I can't make my way over it. And I say that because I know there's a part of me that understands what really is important for me and can be that kind of gatekeeper when I'm not sure. And so when I'm not sure, that's what I always say. Put up a wall so high, even I can't get over it. And I had an experience once where I was looking at joining a women's club and, had all the information, was excited to join, loved the facilities, went down to meet with the account rep who would look after the account. And I thought I knew the price. And she said, well, let me go work out the price. And I thought, what do you mean work out the price? I thought we knew the price. And she comes back and it was another $3,000 on top of what I was already spending. And I was like, okay, that's the wall. I could get over it. I could have made that payment. I could have done it. But there was a part of me that knew that it just wasn't worth it to do that. There was no point in me doing that. What is it that life has got going on that I'm ready to really take a hold of? Jones just asked, what was the biggest lesson that I've learned while searching for that inner joy? Wow, that's a good question. What I learned, I suppose, was that I need to have greater confidence in who I am. Yeah, that inner joy, it came to me when I was in a place of, kind of misery with life overall. Things weren't working well for me. And I sat back one day and I thought, well, now what? If this is as good as it gets, now what? And what I realized was when I took stock of what was going on, I have a roof over my head, I have clothes on my back, I have food in my belly, I'm feeling okay. As I started to really sit with those ideas, what I soon realized is that I'm enough. So it was that journey to acceptance of self that allowed me to find my joy. I hope that helps for you, Jones. But I think it's sometimes a bit of a challenge to even, sort of dig deep enough to find out exactly what is going on or why. And one of the worst questions we can ask ourselves is why. And I remember years ago, why this, why that, why the other thing. And then one day I went, why not you? Why not you? Like, what makes you exempt from the hardships that everybody else is dealing with? Why not you? And so I stopped asking the question of why. I stopped really probing the why, and instead have sat with the now what? What is my next step? What is my next journeying to? What is the next thing that I'm ready to do or that is ready to be done through me? See, all of us are on this plane with something to do. All of us, not some of us, all of us. And so when we look at that and we look at what we're willing to do to make sure that we succeed in all the things that we're doing, we really have to show up. We have to show up. We have to be present, not just in our own little world, but with the world around us. We need to be clear that all of it is a part of this one thing. And so we need to pay attention. Joan said, why not you? That hit deep. Well, that's the big thing, right? We say that all the time. Well, why me? Why me? Why me? Well, why not you? Right? Like, it's what made it so that you wouldn't experience something in your life? Like, why wouldn't you experience that? It's, I think sometimes we forget that we're part of something bigger, that we're all part of it. And what is impacting me is impacting someone else, but maybe in a different way. So we pay attention to these questions. And by doing that, we begin to create something pretty exciting for us. Something that is available to simply be. Simply be. Can I just be with me? Can I just be who I was created to be? Imagine if we woke up every day happy to be who we are. Now that's a joy kick. That's where we'll find joy. Is wake up in the morning and go, yes, I'm here. It's me. And a new day. I'm so excited. I wonder what will happen today. Oh, I cannot wait. And we eat our breakfast and we drink our orange juice and we head out the door and realize we forgot the toboggan. Kind of need that in the snowy weather up here right now. But the energy that we've got going on is just to find a place, a space where we can be who we are. And the greatest gift we can give to another is being willing to accept them for who they are. If somebody wants to be referred to as, by their first name, for example, and we sit back and go, of course, I'm always going to call you by your first name. And if I forget, please remind me. So then we're not getting upset because somebody's called us out on missing something. We're actually calling just to say, give me that information. So today, as we, get ready to wrap up our show today, I just want you to, think about these questions and think about what they mean to you as you progress. What does it mean to you when you look inside yourself and go, what if nothing is wrong with me? Nothing is wrong with me. Wow. What if that were true? Not just about me, but about everyone. Wow. What if nothing is wrong with me? Another question that I was asked is, who am I when I stop performing? What's left when I drop the masks and I just stand as who I am? What then? Who am I then? And I think when we stop performing, that's when the real us can show up. The real us can step into the day or into the moment and shine brightly and all that good stuff, right? See, many of us learned to be who we needed to be to belong. We needed to be captain. We needed to be pleasing. We needed to be kind. We needed to be supportive, strong, helpful. Yes, we needed to be all of those things all at once in order to make it so other people might like us. Sharon just asked, what if everything about me is right? And it is. And if you can see that I am created perfect, whole, and complete, that I am the right person at the right time in the right place doing all the right stuff, I am right for me. Absolutely. And if we start living there, then joy just becomes natural. So, who or what am I pretending not to know? Well, what if I stop pretending and just allow myself to know who I am, to allow that information to come from the depths of me? I'm willing to accept it. What am I pretending not to know? I don't know. I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know what's next. I don't know what to do. Anybody ever whine like that? I've heard a few people do it, and I know I've been guilty of it in the past. Yeah, what am I pretending not to know? Because ultimately, I am able to know everything. I am able to know what's going on, especially what's going on in me, because it's in me, in my mind, in my heart, in my space. So, of course, I can know what it is. And by knowing that, then maybe I can make some subtle shifts. So, what would change if I trusted myself? Ooh, ooh, ooh. What if I said to myself, that's it, I'm ready, I'm going to lose 10 pounds. And then the next day I went out and ate a box of chocolates. And then I went to McDonald's for dinner. And then I had Tim Hortons for breakfast the next day and back to McDonald's for lunch. Does that build trust? Or have I gone against what I said I wanted? Did I go against what I said I wanted? Yeah. I want to do this. I plan to do this. I'm going to do this. And then sabotage. Why do we do that? But we do. So we acknowledge it. We don't call it bad and wrong. We just acknowledge it and go, okay, moving on. Now what? If I change that, now what? How about what am I loyal to that no longer loves me back? Could be a relationship, could be a job, could be a practice that we have. It could be all sorts of things. See, sometimes we stay loyal to old things, identities, relationships, operations, or beliefs long after they've stopped supporting our growth. Think about that. Think about the friends that you hang out with. Are they creating satisfying opportunities for you, or do you feel like drained at the end of a visit? Just something to think about. Where have I made joy conditional? Ooh, I'll tell you. I've caught myself doing this a few times. And even not all that long ago, for that matter, where there was something I wanted, and of course, I didn't ask for it. I just made the assumption that somebody should know what I want. It doesn't work that way. You know, we might all be a little psychic, but I don't think we're psycho to the degree that it would require for us to begin living our lives as though whatever's going on is divine and perfect. And when we see something that's a little bit off, we need to call it. We need to call it on that and go, no, that's not happening. We're changing that. All right. So, what wants to emerge through me now? What wants to emerge through me now? I think when we look at that question, we can sit back and relax a little bit and go, whew, and just let ourselves listen. Listen to that still small voice. Listen. What's it telling you now? What's it telling you now? What if this moment is not a problem, but an invitation? And what would it look like to be gentle with myself? These are great questions. They're great questions to ask that allow you to then sort of dig a little deeper in your own psyche so that we stop blaming everybody out there and we start to acknowledge who I am in here and then live from that. See, joy begins the moment I become curious instead of critical. So joy isn't something we chase. Maybe it's something that returns when we loosen judgment and choose curiosity instead. Yeah. All of it is a choice. And by not choosing, we have in fact chosen to do nothing, which means that everything will stay the same or continue to do the downward spiral if that's what it's doing. Well, I hope these questions have given you something to ponder, to think about. I hope there's something in them that allows you to take a breath and know that you are enough, that you're precious and special and beautiful and remarkable and intelligent, and that you're a beautiful expression of the one like everybody else. And the more you love you, the more love you will have to share with the world around us. Well, I want to thank you for being here today. I want to thank you for listening in. We're changing up the format. You can definitely send me a text or make a comment about how you feel about the new format, and we'll take it all in, and with curiosity and excitement, we'll choose what we're going to do next. So I want to thank you for being here. You're watching the New Thought Media Network. This is the Joy Show, which is my creation, and I am the founder and spiritual director for the Universal Joy Center here in Toronto, Ontario. We are an online ministry, and so you're welcome to join us anytime. Well, have a most beautiful week. I hope you're going to like, share, and subscribe. And if there's any other questions you have, feel free to reach out to me, and I would be happy to get back to you. And you can check us out at our website, ujoyseed.ca. Don't forget about ntmedia.org. And like I say, like, share, and subscribe. See you next time. Have a wonderful weekend.